and welcome to today's webinar. Topic of the webinar is post-quantum pre-migration discovery, challenges, and readiness. My name is Janne Hirvimies, and I'm the CTO at QuantumGate, and I'm pleased to moderate today's session. As we all know, quantum computing is progressing quickly. We have interesting news coming, if not weekly, at least bi-weekly. And even though what we call cryptographically relevant computer is not yet available, there are few considerations like harvest now, decrypt later. That is already an active thread. Data is being collected today that can be decrypted once quantum capabilities mature. Second, and maybe even more important one, is the practical consideration that these IT systems we today have are quite complex, and basically we need to do the proper planning, create the roadmaps, and then start execute the migrations. And all of that won't happen overnight. In the last month webinar with Technology Innovation Institute, we explored the fundamentals of post-quantum cryptography and the importance of cryptographic discovery as the first step in the preparation of the migration. Today, we are shifting the gear from awareness to action. The UAE is among the first countries globally to move from theoretical discussion to coordinated practical implementation, strengthening sovereignty, establishing in-country cryptographic control, and preparing entities for a structured national transition. And today we have a great pleasure of having here as a panelist His Excellence Dr. Omar AlShaiba, Executive Director, Information Technology Affairs, Department of Municipalities and Transport. The other important panelist we have today is Dr. Najwa Aaraj, CEO of Technology Innovation Institute. Thank you all for joining us, and welcome to our panelists.
Thank you, Jan.
Thank you.
Let's start still a little bit going back to what we spoke last time, and I would like to address first with Dr. Najwa. Can you briefly explain what post-quantum cryptography is and how it differs from today's classical cryptographic systems?
Sure. First, Janne, thank you for having me, and thanks for everyone who joined online. As you mentioned, quantum computers are becoming a reality. So if we see all the progress that has been happening and the number of qubits that the different QPUs from the different technologies has been announced over the past 12 months, we are getting closer and closer to a cryptographic relevant computer. And what I mean by that, this is the computer that will be able to run the Shor algorithm. And Shor algorithm is one of the very few known quantum algorithms. And we know from now that it will break the public key cryptography algorithms that we use today, and mainly RSA and ECC. Using classical computing, the main fundamental or the fundamental mathematical problem of these two algorithms, which is discrete log for ECC and integer factorization for RSA, because of their complexity class, these algorithms cannot be broken by the classical computer. However, their complexity class, which is BPP, will be broken by the Shor algorithm, which will run on the cryptographically relevant quantum computer. So if you think about all the certificates that we have today, the protocols that we use in order to access the web, HTTPS, TLS, and others, those rely on those two main algorithms today. And because of Shor, once we have the quantum computer, this will be broken. So what the crypto community, the mathematical community has done is to look into the development of algorithms for the asymmetrical side, the public key cryptography, to replace RSA and ECC. And this is by basing those algorithms on problems that belong to a complexity class that is beyond the power of the quantum computers and the known quantum algorithms. And this is where we start looking into lattice-based algorithm, and this is the main standards that have been published by NIST last year. Kyber is the key encapsulation mechanism, and we have the digital signature algorithm as well. We have code-based crypto, we have hash-based signatures, we have other schemes that are based on PKP and other mathematical foundation. Now, as you mentioned, the reason why, even though this cryptographically relevant quantum computer does not exist today, the reason why we should migrate to post-quantum yesterday is because of the harvest now, decrypt later phenomena. And this is where, if you think about sovereign entities, critical infrastructure, government department, etc., they store information that is encrypted for 20, 30 years. So if you think about the timeline where the quantum computer or the cryptographically relevant quantum computer will be available, it will be at the intersection of these years where we store the data, and it will be able to revert and decrypt everything that we're storing today. Hence, you have all the migration efforts that you have today. You have the advanced countries, and UAE being one of them, calling for this migration to happen as soon as possible to the PQC schemes.
Thank you. I always love when I speak with the expert cryptographers like Dr. Najwa, and thankfully we have the CRC cryptographic research team here working with us. Seemingly simple question, and we go immediately to the very deep end of the topic. So it is extremely complex. We'll get more practical. Try to bear with us. Thank you. Okay, how about the UAE moved early in making PQC as a national priority. How do you see this early investment shaping the UAE's global position in the field of cybersecurity and advanced cryptography from your standpoint?
This is for me as well,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Yes. So yeah, as you mentioned, Janne, I think the UAE has been one of the first countries to look into PQC schemes, and not only from a development perspective. Actually, if you look today into what's happening on NIST, all the competition, all the standardization efforts that are happening, there are lots of efforts that are happening from the cryptographic community. There are 4 standards that have been announced. There is the second round of digital signatures that has been announced, which us as an organization, as TII, we already have 6 candidates that made it to the next level. From my perspective, the main complexity is how are we going to take PQC and actually start migrating, right? And the UAE has been one of the first countries in order to realize that this is a structured process that has to be put together. The Cybersecurity Council is one of the most advanced entities that is leading the migration today, and looking into the various steps from identifying what are your crypto assets. So this is where you need to have an inventory of your crypto assets, understanding, one, what are the assets that need to migrate to post-quantum protocols, post-quantum algorithms, understanding what vulnerabilities from a crypto perspective overall are there in order to bridge them, and then start with this PQC migration. One thing to understand in the PQC migration is it's a journey, meaning that it's not, something that we do within a month, within a year, and it's not. There is the first migration, which will take time. There is the crypto management that will come after that. Crypto agility is a very important consideration to have that, because all of these standards are being worked right now. And then crypto management is also another step that needs to follow the efforts for PQC. Obviously, interoperability between systems also become a very big consideration. Maybe to just emphasize the UAE aspect, there was a law in 2023 that mandated this PQC migration, and then executive regulations have been published in 2024, and they are being governed by the Cybersecurity Council that's driving all the effort of PQC migration in the country. Obviously, the US is another country where they have an act and a law following the EU Act that happened only a few months ago. There are some efforts in EU, in the UK, Japan, Korea, but I would say these are the most of the international efforts that are happening in this area.
Thank you, Dr. Najwa. Dr. Omar, now when rest of the world is still discussing about the migration and the transition, UAE is one of the first countries, as we heard. Now, within the UAE, DMT, to my understanding, is one of the first government entities, embarking to this journey. So I would like to ask that what prompted DMT to begin preparing for a post-quantum readiness so early, and what was the leadership vision behind this decision?
Thank you, Gian, and also I would like now to thank you now to be part of this event as well, and also I would like to thank all the attendees who joined us in this panel. Actually, now based exactly of our leadership visions and commitment, always we are trying. Always, we are trying to be ahead in security-wide procedure and also readiness, which exactly is required from our side, to think exactly how to embracing proactive post-security assurance within DMT to stay ahead. Also, how we can make sure the readiness and also the trust of our infrastructure, of our applications, and also how that will be reflect and impact to our digital landscape as well. Always we are thinking that as DMT, we are serve all our Abu Dhabi Emirates citizens, which exactly we would like now to make sure about our services and our livability activities and also outputs will be aligned with our security agenda as well. So that is clear from our leadership, how we make sure our security proactives and also to utilize the advanced technologies. When we are talking about the post-quantum solutions, which exactly we need now to be ready in advance, that will be help us to be utilize it in the right way.
Thank you, Dr. Omar. I would like to continue also with you and ask that from your perspective, from a government entity, what does early readiness actually mean, and how do you evaluate where your current organization currently stands today? So I'm sure you have some kind of metrics in place.
Yes, actually, if we will take that from there are one common KPI across Abu Dhabi government related for the security readiness, and we are as a DMT, we are heading a good shape and percentage within that KPI around 93% of cyber security readiness and maturity within our organization. Actually, that's not easy, because when you are talking about entities or the big organization like DMT and the affiliates, we are talking about municipalities and integrated transport centers and also real estate center. All of them utilizing the digital landscape of DMT and also provide them activities and services for them, a partnership for them, customer, for them, citizens. So the cybersecurity readiness and maturity is very important KPI for DMT. Based on that, we are trying, to push our readiness to be better and more mature. Also, we are trying to adopt the advanced technologies faster. That will be help us now to reduce the business and operational risk. Also, that will be help DMT to have advantage of trust and assurance. Also, to avoid or to reduce the transitions timeline, and that's exactly what we are observed last few years, when exactly the threat transitions and the technology and the way of the threats is changed day by day. So to have that agility and to have that readiness within the organizations is very important. And when we are working with the quantum solutions, I think that will be help us, to adopt it fully within our cloud infrastructure. And also that would be give advance for DMT now to be ahead on that area.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Omar.
Welcome.
Dr. Najwa, we of course know that you and your organization have been years working on the research side of the cryptography, but can you elaborate a little bit how TII is helping in practice building the sovereign in-country PQC capabilities and working with entities such like Dr. Omar here is presenting?
Sure. As you said, Janne, this has been a long journey for us in the post-quantum efforts, and we have looked into it in different stages. The first one, we have developed post-quantum crypto libraries and software and hardware. Obviously, today it's an international effort, and you need all the cryptographic community to be looking into the various schemes. And as I mentioned before, there are multiple schemes that are being considered, whether these are lattices, whether these are codes or other schemes. And to be honest, each one of them will fit for a specific use case. Some of them would be fit for example, to do key exchange. Some of them, they have properties of having larger keys versus the others. So this migration from the current schemes of exchanging keys, for example, using Diffie-Hellman, to using one of the CAMs has to be carefully studied to understand what is the impact on performance too. So what we have done is we have developed these libraries. We have built the expertise internally. The libraries for the standards and for the candidates that are adopted by NIST as well, we have aligned them with the reference implementation that is out there, obviously with an internal implementation, with a complete cycle of secure software development. From our side, we have added all the right countermeasures against side channel, against fault injection, etc. So these are secure libraries fit for deployment in the country. In addition to that, we also have a part of the library that has a sovereign flavor, right? So this would be the additional candidates that we have implemented. We have also accounted for applications that need extra acceleration. So for example, you would look into Kyber and identify the most compute intensive, and then we have accelerated parts of it. This is for the applications that are needed for this. So this is on the libraries development. At the same time, and this is where I would say the link to QuantumGate, all these libraries also are making it to real products. And if I may, I'll just give you a little bit of advertisement. This is where the link between the Crypto Research Center and QuantumGate comes, where QuantumGate is the entity that is helping within the entire migration steps with the crypto discovery tool that is being availed by your organization, with the products themselves, whether this is a VPN, whether these are products for data security, and other suites that are required for an enterprise security level and a government security level as well. We provide advisory services. We're very mindful that this is a new area, that there are still many unknowns, that in many cases, organizations have to have the hybrid approach. So we do have this expertise internally to do that. At the same time, I would say these are, let's say, the sovereign efforts. At the same time, we are also conscious that us as a UAE organization, we need to be part of the global efforts as well. So we're working very closely with NIST. As part of the first standardization effort, the HQC algorithm has been developed by researchers that are in TII. And for the second round, we have contributed quite a bit. And out of the 14 candidates that made it in the second round, 6 of them have been contributed by TII and other organizations too. Yeah, I think that is the role that we play as a research organization. Obviously, one thing that we always keep in mind when it comes to PQC is the concept of crypto agility. All of these candidates are new, they are being studied. Maybe Macalis, which is code-based, is a bit older, but everything else is being studied as we go. We're doing a lot of cryptanalysis also to contribute to the study of these candidates and understand the weaknesses and try to contribute on how we can strengthen them to be a safe alternative to the classical candidates that we have today.
Thank you, Dr. Najwa. And it's actually quite amazing that we have a team here in the country who is contributing to this standardization, which is clearly the leading standardization body in the whole world. Okay, we started this. Of course, the journey started much longer towards the sovereign post-quantum cryptography, but officially the journey started roughly a year ago at the CyberQ, where the regulation was last November released. And now if we take the look back and from your angle, so it's been almost a year, then UAE as a country initiated this coordinated PQC readiness across the sectors. From your vantage point, what progress you observed on the national level and how this journey has been from your perspective?
I think, Janne, yes, as you mentioned, it's been, I would say, it's been less than a year where things have been put, where the process has been put in place and the executive regulations have been put in place. And to be honest, from my perspective, the response of the market and the organization has been nothing short of amazing. You know, typically when you go to organizations, and all my compliments, for example, to Dr. Omar, who is a pioneer of this migration and all the PQC efforts. You know, typically as a leaderships of organizations, security, cryptography, all of this, they come as an afterthought, right? And there's a very big compliment that we need to put to the UAE, to the Abu Dhabi government entities who are really taking this seriously. Of course, with all the efforts that are happening from the Cybersecurity Council, and you see most of them are being engaged to put a plan on, okay, there's a risk, there is a threat, which is the quantum computers. How are we going to move from what we have today to post-quantum crypto? What do we have in place? And this is where they are all trying to inventorize or build this inventory of crypto assets. What are the assets that we need to migrate? How are we going to migrate them? And how are we going to put a mechanism in place to manage those crypto systems and then ensure compliance with all the PQC standards internationally and the standards that are being put in the country, right? If you see the progress that has been done so far, I would say we are well ahead of many countries, or I would even dare to say of the majority of the countries that have embarked on this journey, right? Maybe one thing to say as well, this is coming in time because since the efforts of post-quantum migration have started in the UAE, globally, NIST has said that by 2030, all the asymmetric crypto, all the public key crypto will start to be considered deprecated. And 2035, there will be zero support and everything will be considered as unsafe. And, you know, 2030, for most of us, it still sounds as, okay, it's far in the future. The bad news is only 4 years away. So even if you start today, by the time you reach, we're there, we're in 2030. And I would say the UAE entities, the UAE government, DMT being one of them, other entities as well, the efforts that have been put are great so far. And I would say that we are here to work hand in hand with this organization in order to have this and to support also the Cybersecurity Council to have this migration go as smooth as possible and then have most of the entities, especially the critical entities with their critical crypto assets migrated in the right time frame.
Thank you, Dr. Najwa. I would like to address the same question to Dr. Omar as well, because you are the other end of the journey. That how this last year has been from your perspective, and I know that you kickstarted. I happen to know that you kickstarted practically from zero, less than 6 months ago, and now you are really, full speed ahead. But how has it been?
Yes, actually, as Dr. Najwa mentions that when that technology is is appear and also with clear understanding that will be help us for next cybersecurity generations, which exactly that will become to adopt the advanced solutions within our infrastructure and our application and systems as well. And really when we just started to discuss that with Dr. Najwa at that time, I remember that things just we start to have joint team together from our cybersecurity and application team, and also from TII teams, and they started with a clear plan to adopt a POC within some critical application and system as well in DMT. And that exactly where we noticed the results, how that is efficient, and also the reflections of the cybersecurity attractions with our threats as well, And in the same time, it's give us a different angle exactly where is exactly our weakness and where is exactly the area of improvement, and we need to consider to have better cybersecurity solutions. And after we saw the results together, exactly we have clear decisions. We need now to adopt that technology. But it's very important, as the entities and organization, they should be establish the teams internally, to build that capability, which exactly they can be ready to utilize and to understand and also to adopt this technology when you are start with a strong partner like TII or another partners with similar solutions. So that team will help to have quick and efficient adoptions of this technology.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
We were waiting potentially also His Excellence from the Dr. Al-Kuwaiti from CSE to join today. Unfortunately, he wasn't able. I have a couple of questions related to this topic, which I want to address with both of you. So if we continue still with Dr. Omar and think about, from your perspective, that what does the UAE's regulatory trajectory look like? We're looking ahead next 2 to 3 years in terms of the post-quantum readiness, compliance preparation, and other expectation. Where do you think we're gonna be in 2 to 3 years?
First, we are in UAE, we are lucky, to have, the Cyber Security Council, which exactly it's leading us as organizations and also as institutions and also as private sectors, related to all the cybersecurity guidelines, standards, strategy, and also the readiness of our organizations, how that be reflected and monitored with full alignment and engagement with the Cybersecurity Council. So refer to your questions, exactly, we are working hand to hand with the Cybersecurity Councils and also with Department of Enablement in Abu Dhabi government, to make sure how we are doing exactly our activities and to be proactive in cybersecurity as well as entities, and also at the same time how we are compliance with the guidelines and also standards of the cybersecurities. And post quantum solutions, when exactly the solutions we need now to be ready and also to be agile to adopt this technology, because it's new on the market, and also the lesson learned, and also there are lots of area will be discovered together when we are working with the regulatory entities like Cybersecurity Council and also a partner of us like TII. And we are in operation stage, how that we can figure all that challenges together and to have agility to adopt this technology. So the alignments from top to down is clear here in Abu Dhabi with the Cybersecurity Council and with also the Department of Enablement of Abu Dhabi government, and also how we are maintain and monitor and manage our operational cybersecurity within our organizations.
Thank you, Dr. Omar.
Welcome.
Dr. Najwa, I would also like you to address the same question, that what is the trajectory for the next 2 to 3 years and how does it look like?
I think the next 2 to 3 years, Janne, will be quite decisive in this post-quantum migration. I don't believe we have the luxury of time. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar, and I'm sure you are familiar with the Mosca theorem, which is the time of migration plus the time that you keep the assets, plus the time actually that you need until the computer is ready. The timeline is bigger than the time that you have for the lifetime of the information that you store, right? So this means that these 2 points, we will reach the inflection point where the data that is secured with classical crypto and the existence of the quantum crypto-relevant quantum computer, they will overlap, and then we will have the threat becoming a reality, right? So this post-quantum migration will need to happen before this threat becomes a reality. And as I mentioned before, the migration itself is the important part, and the process of migration and ensuring that you don't skip any step in this process is very important. One is entities working hard to identify what are the different crypto assets that they have at the network level, at the system level, at an application level, identifying from those in order of priority which ones have to move first to post-quantum crypto. And this also, not to raise alarms, but you know, it's not a simple, I remove my existing crypto and I replace it with a post-quantum scheme. We need to understand how the protocols are designed, how the key are being exchanged, what is the most relevant PQC algorithm to replace the current public key crypto and PKI, managing keys, managing certificates, etc., migrating the keys to the PQC. So there's a big process to be done. Interoperability, ensuring that you don't have disruption to operations also becomes a critical aspect. And once this process of migration is done, the entities need to put in place a crypto management or asset management system in place to ensure compliance, because compliance and going in tandem with the standards, going in tandem with the highest level of security becomes quite important. Personally, I see that if the entities follow this process, especially led by the government entities, the private entities will follow suit, because also you don't want to have a weakest point that's coming from the other side. There's a lot of cleanup that needs to happen on the crypto infrastructure overall, removing all the deprecated crypto in parallel. And to be honest, this should be taken as an opportunity in order also to clean up all the deprecated crypto assets that are out there on our networks, on our systems, etc. And with all of these efforts, I would see the UAE scoring very high and leading this effort on PQC. And you know, with this, I think it will be very fun to wait for the quantum computer to be there. Hopefully by then also, we would have migrated our digital signatures to post-quantum, because at that point, active attacks will become quite relevant, especially for the nation actors. And if we are good on the encryption, on the key exchange, and the digital signatures, personally, I will be really looking forward to see the quantum computer become a reality. Now it's scary, even though, you know, as TII, we're also working on that part, but it will be fun to see how these two will converge at some point.
Thank you, Dr. Najwa. Yeah, I understand that we always talk about the bad sides of the quantum computers. I'm sure that there's lots of positives coming with this equipment.
Absolutely.
Once they are available. Okay, if we now switch a little bit the angle, and I'm also quite curious to hear from the from Dr. Omar, who's been really the trailblazer now with this migration, that there must have been some challenges that have emerged, internal alignment or vendor maturity or skills, readiness, interoperability, mindset. What would you like to bring on the as a learnings from your journey so far?
Yes, actually, when we are looking for exactly to adopting the new technology or new approach, within the current and historical approach of the cybersecurity more than of 30 or 40 years exactly, and also to discover that area, it's required a lot of readiness and also agility within internally and externally. Now, internally within the organizations, how to figure that clearly, and also how to have a clear visions to adopt such as that technologies. The externally with exactly we are talking about our partner, also our stakeholder, when we need now to have full alignments to make sure what we are doing that will be fit with our standards and guidelines. So most of the challenges, which exactly how to make that transformations with the organizations, in the same time, how to align that transformations with the actual transformation with the organizations. We are talking how that will be reflect and will be adopted with the business department and functions, and how that alignments to be jointly together, because it's very important to have full understandings between business and digital and cybersecurity team. That's maybe the third point, where exactly the understandings from our partnership. It's very important, when we are going to adopt new technologies, which exactly still there are a lot of gray area, and a lot of challenges and blockers will become through the implementations. So a partnership and also whose will be a right hand of the organization to implement and to adopt this, such as this technology. It's very important, to have full understandings how to adopt that, and also how they will be invest from them efforts and from them time, from also them understandings of that challenges, to address exactly all that points, and also how to solve it together and to adopt it. In the end, it's very important, how to achieve that. It's very important, without that alignment and without that integrated solutions together, really you will see that solutions will be stuck in somewhere. So what we had last more than of 6 months with TII, it was clear how the joint and stronger partnership to adopt this solutions. And also both teams, they faced a lot of challenges, but they address it and they solve it and they move forwards on it. So that's exactly very important. That the last point I mentioned before, is very important to build the capability internally, because that will be help to have in the same level maturity between a partnership, vendors, and also organizations to talk in the same level, to have common understandings, and also they will have a fast adoptions of the technologies together.
Thank you, Dr. Omar. You kind of already answered my second question, which is, but let's still recap the topic, because this is very important. We have participants from the other government entities and critical entities, and I know from my perspective is that they have lots of questions in their mind. So what would be the one single advice you would give them based on your journey so far? What would it be, based on your experience?
From my side, my common advice would be, don't wait, just start. That's great, very important, because if we are adopted that is technologies faster, that will be help us to be ready and also will be increase our maturity and readiness within our organization. And when that is focused within the organizations and that levels, you will see that readiness across the Emirate and across the UAE will be now in the same level, So Dr. Najwa has mentioned that the time is, we don't have a time, So it's very important for each organization. They should be have to address clear visions on that and to start without any waiting.
Thank you, Dr. Omar. I see we have few questions coming in as well, but before moving into the Q&A section, I still would like to address one more question with both of you. So if we let Dr. Najwa to take it first. So how critical are sovereigns in-country post-quantum cryptography solutions for ensuring long-term national resilience during quantum-safe migration? And maybe from your perspective, how do research and government coordination reinforce this national priority?
Yeah, I think, Janne, the sovereignty aspect comes for PQC, comes with various reasons, right? The first reason is crypto in general is the base of all the digital security, and it's critical to have sovereign implementations. It's critical to have a source code that you have full control over, that you have it vetted, that you have your countermeasures added on it, and you have tested it against all attacks, theoretical attacks as well as applied attacks, and your implementation itself has been tested as a white box and as a black box as well. With PQC comes the additional complexity that these algorithms are moving as we speak, as the cryptographic community is testing them. For example, I give you Kyber as an exemplary of this. When it started, the parameters are different than the parameters of the Kyber that has been standardized, right? And I've been through this journey where the team in TII has implemented the various versions until we have the version that has been standardized by NIST. And because it was done in a sovereign way, because it has been implemented in a sovereign way, we could keep up with the updates. And at the same time, every time there is an update, the source code will be tested, it will be vetted, all the countermeasures will be included, and it will be tested implementation-wise as well. Now, in certain instances, especially when you talk about secret and top secret data, the sovereignty aspect also comes from the point of having your own sovereign algorithms, right? It doesn't have to be the same implementation of the lattice, of the code base and other alternatives. It could be based on a different fundamental mathematical problem or your own flavor of the algorithm. So there is this point as well. And the last one that I would say is you will, by having your own implementations and by deploying your own tools, you also have the knowledge in-house. So your data, whether you're doing crypto, the knowledge and also control over the data, right? You will not be leaking it to outside. The asset inventory that you give to an entity that is dealing with critical government data, with critical sovereign data, remains in the country, remains in the control of people that are in charge of the cybersecurity and the cryptographic infrastructure of the country. And this is very important. So sovereignty is very important, sovereignty of implementation, sovereignty of ownership of the libraries, having the source code and all the hardening that comes with this, as well as sovereignty of the data that is being processed as this post-quantum migration journey goes in are also very, very important. And also the knowledge base, having teams both from a entity perspective and a technology provider perspective that understand this technology in and out is very, very important. And it's very important to have this localized in UAE entities as well.
Thank you, Dr. Najwa. How about Dr. Omar, you as a leader of one of the very critical government entity, how do you see the sovereignty aspect when it comes to the cryptographic solutions?
Actually, that is very important point, and also how that should be take it as a strategic approach and policy within the organizations, because that is aligned with exactly what's the cybersecurity council agenda, and also how that is reflected with our organization as well. How to make the solutions sovereigns, and also how that will become with the majority of the organizations. So when we are talking about that, to build the capability and the security solutions and technology within the internally within the organizations, it's very important to have that approach, and also how to have that alignment to better results and outcomes, to make sure exactly for the security solutions and activities within the organizations. Here in DMT, we are consider that the security is number one, the security first, and also how that is reflected within the software solutions and within our infrastructure in the right way. So that clear directions and visions within the organizations is helping now to build that clear and must within the organizations, will help us to increase our readiness, and also to be in better agility within adoptions the post quantum solutions in the right way.
Thank you, Dr. Omar.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's start moving into the Q&A session, but let me summarize the discussion first. So I think it's clear that the post-quantum is there is a real urgency that we need to start taking steps. And basically, as discussed, we need to start by understanding what the current assets we have, and then start planning based on this foundation. Dr. Najwa multiple times also mentioned this algorithm agility, which means in practice simplified that we need to build the flexibility in our future systems where new learnings will appear, and the quantum computers are more capable than we actually currently even understand, and then also the cryptographic foundation needs to evolve as the machinery is evolving. And definitely we need the cross-functional alignment from research, government, operational. That's the key for the success. We have I just opened the Q&A. We have a couple of very good ones, but let's start from a little bit simpler one. There's a question regarding, in a nutshell, which industries will be impacted the most by quantum threats? Dr. Najwa, maybe you want to take this one.
Sure. I think this has to do with the threat, right? The threat of store now or harvest now, decrypt later. So all the entities that have the need to store information for a long period of time would be at the threat of this quantum computer, right? You have the passive attacks and you have the active attacks. Now we're protecting with this store now, decrypt later from the passive attacks. And this is where the information that is being stored today can be used later in order to be decrypted or attacked by the quantum computers. So this will include any critical infrastructure. So the energy sector, the healthcare sector, the financial sector, all the government services that store information, for example, and I would refer to Dr. Omar here, but all the DMT records, all the data records, these get stored for a long periods of time. And any entity that deals with this data has to be worried about this store now, decrypt later threat, and will need to start migrating and this migration journey as soon as possible.
Is there anything you would like to complement, Dr. Omar, on this?
Actually, exactly as Dr. Najwa mentions, threats, as I mentioned, it changes day by day, and also the approach and the mechanisms which exactly we discover on a daily basis. Exactly, it's required from ourselves, to be ready, and we need now to adopt where is the solutions. We need now to discover the solutions, and also we need to adopt it together. And we need now to have that agility. Otherwise, we will be in behind, and we will see now the threats will become to cause the entities.
Thank you both. We have a few questions regarding cryptographic inventory or starting this journey. So maybe we'll take this one, and I hope this addresses 2-3 questions. So question is actually to Dr. Najwa. You've called the migration process as a migration journey. So this journey is supposed to be a long one. How companies would track the progress of this journey and prioritize the assets that needs to be migrated first? I guess this is actually relevant for both of you, because you, Dr. Omar, and the DMT is going through the journey as we speak. But if you go first, Dr. Najwa, and then we'll take the other angle to this same question.
Yeah, I think we can also, link it to the and organizations. Indeed, this is not a journey that is of few months. As I mentioned, there is the discovery phase, there is the actual migration phase, and there is the maintenance and the management and the compliance insurance phase in this whole process, right? So today you have tools like the crypto discovery tool, for example, that QuantumGate is availing with the different sensors on the application side, on the network side, CI/CD integration, and others that will provide you with data that, of course, will be processed in various ways, including the process using AI, knowledge graphs, agents that has been mentioned in one of the questions, to provide you an inventory, to provide you statistics of what exists across your network application system in case you use local cloud services. So this would provide you with all of these. Then based on the risk score that is associated or the prioritization of what is discovered on their network, then a migration plan will be generated in order to start moving them one to the other. Of course, in addition to the risk profile, you will need to take into consideration operational requirements where interoperability, not disturbing business continuity are of essence. And based on all of these factors together, a migration plan would be generated and then would be tracked when the migration actually exists. Then you have this step where assets will have to be migrated, where all the assets that are using cipher suites that are classical will need to be moved to the post-quantum stage. And then after that, once you move, you will need to also have the, I would like to say that this is the maintenance phase, right? So to have, is everything compliant? Are all my keys migrated to post-quantum keys? Are all my assets that are relevant migrated to post-quantum assets? Are all my certificates migrated to post-quantum certificates? And then over time, the management part has to make sure that indeed this migration is still valid, that all the right algorithms are being put in place, because now the standards are as such, but if next year the standard changes the parameter in one of them, we will need to be conscious that this also has to be an effort as part of the maintenance and the management side, and then compliance comes into this. So this is the process, this is the journey that I was discussing before. It will take time, and as I mentioned, the sooner we start, the better positioned we are to reach the point where our crypto is migrated at the right time, our systems, our data are safe against the quantum threats, and we reach the point where we have the crypto suites that are still migrated locally and also internationally.
Thank you, Dr. Najwa. How about the one last thing, Dr. Omar? How would you like to complement her answer regarding the journey and how you measure, prioritize these steps and actions?
Actually, now Dr. Najwa covered all the points and all the angles related to the journey, you know. But you know, let me now to take it from entities side. They know exactly where is the area and where is the criticality of data and systems and also infrastructure. And it's very important from them side, you know, to have that quick assessment to understand what exactly is required, and also how the solutions like post-quantum will become, you know, to help them. It's very important. Based on that, they can start exactly to reduce their risk, because they are defined where is now the critical area, and also they start to implement it by phases without any disruptions of the business and the operation level.
Thank you, Dr. Omar, so much. I would like to thank our great panelists and all the audience. And as a last thing, today I would like to remind us all that there is also one great event coming up next week. So CyberQ is 26th and 7th of November, aka next week. So, you know, I hope to see you all there. And as mentioned many times, this is a long journey, and this is just the beginning of it. So next week you will have a great new event and opportunity to address more questions and see more great presentations. Thank you all.
Thank you, Janne. Thank you, Dr. Omar. See you. Thanks for
everyone.
everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Amjad. Thank you, Gian. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.